Hey guys, welcome back to the Bry-Fy podcast. I'm your host, Bry-Fy the Comics Guy, and this is episode 270 of the Bry-Fy podcast. I say Bry-Fy a lot, get used to it, learn it. It's called branding. Anyways, guys, of course, we switch things up now on YouTube where we do Nifty Nerd news, and then you can go over to the podcast to get any kind of comic book reviews and anything else that I talk about. Suggestion by my wife, who's amazing, awesome, a YouTuber herself, potentially Casey, and she's really awesome and has more followers and everything than me. So I definitely take her advice, and she's busy finishing up her makeup and everything. Anyways, let's get on to some of the Nifty Nerd news that I wanted to talk about this week, so that way you guys can get out of here on YouTube and then head over to the podcast and listen to all the rest. Up first, though, we're going to talk about the new Twilight Zone commercial that just came out. Of course, this is like a reboot of the series, or just a new telling of all the Twilight stuff, and seeing it looks really cool. It looks really creepy without getting like Stranger Things dark, or like dark, but it definitely seems really creepy. Has tons of actors that I didn't even realize were a part of this. Some of them being like Adam Scott, who I was a big fan of in Parks and Rec. He's in there. Greg Kinnear, who's been in a lot of stuff. He's an older actor. Stephen Young from The Walking Dead. Kamal Nanjiani, who's like a comedian that I've really enjoyed over the years. Seeing him be in one of the episodes is really awesome. And then there's a few more. And of course, it's hosted by Jordan Peele, who, of course, was a comedian. He also had that really scary movie that came out. Oh, what the hell was it called? About racism. All right, I didn't even really watch it, but based on the trailers and stuff, that's kind of what it seemed like. But I've heard him talk about it on a podcast before. I think it was on Chris Hardwick's podcast, The Nerdist. Well, not Nerdist anymore. What's it? The ID10T podcast. And so he seemed to really be a huge fan of the Twilight Zone. And so I feel like he's going to put a lot of love in this. And I'm really excited. The only thing I'm not excited about is it's only on CBS All Access, which, of course, every TV show or like new TV network is having their own streaming service now, which kind of sucks in a way, because, back when it was just Netflix and Hulu and, maybe Amazon Prime, you're spending $7, $7, and maybe 14, 10, 7, whatever. It wasn't too big of a deal. That plus your internet bill was still under what you're paying for cable. But now it keeps, like, with all these new streaming services, it's adding up. And at some point, that bubble's just got to burst, where people have to make that choice of, oh, I can't have this anymore, And I mean, me and Casey have already made certain cuts, and like we share with other friends. Like our Hulu, my sister pays for, but we share the account with her. We pay for Netflix, and she does that. I think my mom or someone else does Amazon Prime, and we share. And then another friend does like HBO, we share. Or it's crazy how we do all this stuff, but it works. But at some point, it's going to get too much where you can't do it anymore. So next up in the Nifty Nerd news, looks like Ja Rule hasn't seen any of the Netflix or Hulu specials about Fyre Fest, because he just announced Fyre Fest 2.0, which this was actually a few weeks ago. But I just wanted to bring it up now because it's kind of funny, kind of terrible, and kind of just everything for me right now. And it's funny because he's like a central figure with the first Fyre Fest. Like, he's involved with just about, or he's present in just about everything. And there's my wife back there taking a selfie. But he's everywhere. He's hyping it up. He's going crazy. He's on talk shows. He's like the main guy he's all buddy with, and talking about all these kind of weird, crazy things with. And so for him, did my Xbox just turn on?
Yes, it did.
That was creepy. I heard that. Ja Rule's listening. We gotta go shut this off. I find it too hard to believe that he had no involvement and no knowledge of all this like shady shit that was going down, because it's like all there. Like, this thing was, for the most part, a total scam. The way this dude operates his business, I already forgot his name, but he's in jail and stuff like that. Like, Billy was his name. I don't remember his last name, but like, the way Billy would do it is he wouldn't have the money for things to fund a project, so he would make up another project to get funding for that so he could fund this project. And then he would just deal with it later. Like, he would constantly, like, work on credit in a way, you know? It was crazy. Somehow he would always manage, but it finally caught up to him, and it completely exploded with Fyre Fest. So Ja Rule was like, hey, you know that really, really bad thing that just was total disaster and everything? We're going to do it again. And this time, it's going to be better. Bigger, better, way more scammy. I don't know. It's just freaking crazy. Maybe Ja Rule really didn't know. Maybe he was just too stoned and drunk during the whole thing. Because if you watch any of the special, like the documentaries, like he's like trashed. Like he has to be. That or that's just his entire personality. And that could be cause for issues. Anywho, let's move on to the next bit of Nifty Nerd news. Looks like there's a new biopic coming out that will rival that of Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, all the other great biopics of all time, and that's the new Hulk Hogan biopic. But hear me out, because they have one thing that all these other movies didn't have, and that's the actor Chris Hemsworth. Yes, Chris Hemsworth, holy god of thunder Hemsworth, is going to be playing Hulk Hogan, which blows my mind. I mean, maybe he's a huge wrestling fan. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, with prosthetics and makeup, of course, they can make anyone look like anybody. And maybe with CGI help too. But I've never known people to really beg for a Hulk Hogan biopic. Then again, I'm not too involved in the wrestling community, so I don't know. I would think, like, for me, who's like The Rock, because he still looks the same age as he's always has, so he could just play himself the whole time. And then there's other, I mean, they've done wrestling like, was it Roddy Piper who passed away? I can't remember, and I thought they did like a movie about his life. So, I mean, I feel like there's other wrestlers out there that deserve bigger biopics, but who am I? You know, I'm just the guy who talks about pop culture and stuff like that. But I think it's interesting, and there's been some fan casting out there, and one of my favorite fan castings has been for Sting. And someone said, get Keanu Reeves to play Sting. And I am 100% behind this, because I think that would be fantastic. And they go through a whole list. I forgot what website it was, but they were doing, like, you know, Andre the Giant. I think The Rock was himself, which, you know, kind of led to my joke. But it was pretty cool and pretty funny. I'm not 100% interested, but if they get certain names involved with this biopic, I may be interested just to see them. Eh? That looks cute. But right here, there's going to be, like, info and stuff, so they might not really... Cute. Anyway. And then, guys, the last bit of news that I have for y'all this week is Bowser has finally taken over the castle. What does that mean? Let me tell you. So, the head of Nintendo America has finally stepped down. His name was something. Reggie Feel. I'm going to butcher this name. Reggie Feels Ame? Feels Ame? I don't.
Let me see.
Casey's going to try to interpret this one for me.
Where is it?
Right here. Reggie Filsame? Filsame?
Filsame.
Anyway, so he has decided to retire as COO of Nintendo America, and the new guy that steps up is going to be Doug Bowser. Like, his name is actually Bowser. How perfect is that? How amazing is that? And so there's been tons of jokes about, you know, Bowser taking over the castle, being the head of Nintendo America. All the games are going to change now where Mario's not the main character. I thought it was really funny. It's pretty neat. Of course, COO Reggie has done a fantastic job. I've really loved what Nintendo's been doing in the past few years. Doug Bowser, he's been head of our senior VP of sales and marketing for the past few years. And Casey's drinking behind me, which is kind of creepy. Anyway, so no, that was just a bit of fun. I'm excited to see where Nintendo goes from here. Been a lot of cool games coming out recently. A lot of fun free-to-play games on my Switch, which I've been really enjoying. So we'll see about that. Of course, there's been a lot of fun free-to-play games on all the systems. On Xbox, I've been playing Apex Legends, which has been a blast. and also Warface, which is kind of like Call of Duty slow-mo, which my wife hates that I play these games. And then, of course, on my Switch, I've been playing, well, Rocket League's not free to play, but I've been playing that, Paladins, Tetris 99. Oh, God, I've been playing the hell out of Tetris 99. And if you have a Switch or anything, you should play it too, because it's like Battle Royale Tetris, and you can like choose to fight people and like send blocks their way and stuff. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And super simple. I mean, it's Tetris. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this week. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for enjoying. A little bit short. Wife is coming over to say bye to everyone.
Bye-bye.
And we will see you guys next week. Also, the fun's not over yet. If you want more on comic book reviews and just anything else that you want to hear me talk about, head over to the podcast, which is on Podbean. You also can find it on Google Play, the Apple Podcast Store, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and I think that's about it where you can find me. So definitely check all that stuff out. Thank you for tuning in this week, and we'll see you over on the podcast. Bye.